what I could not figure it out, what to do.
So let me give this brief introduction to Facebook. Yo, so what's up, Facebook friends and family? So I am here with illustrator extraordinaire Gloria Day, and we're doing this create section that we've kind of planned out for the past month. So finally came to fruition, and we're here, and she's painting while I'm doing some music. So if I turn the camera here, you can see that this is what she's working on. And I'm in the process of working on music. And the whole concept is that we're sort of feeding off of each other's energy, and that, we just kind of just want to experiment. That's what artists do. We just experiment, we come up with new things, we meet new people, we get new ideas. So, we've kind of started this, I think it was about 6 o'clock or something like that. And we started on Instagram. So if you want to kind of catch up and see where we started from, you can check out me on Instagram at DannieB224. Or you can check out Gloria at Feverish Child, right? Feverish Child on Instagram. It's good, Moses, man. Um, yeah, so you can just hang around for a little bit and see what's going on. So just gonna prop this phone up right here for a little minute. So it's basically been a combination of conversation about both of our artistic processes. Um, Hey, Auntie, how you doing? About our artistic processes, about how we sort of arrived to where we are as artists, about some of our backgrounds from childhood or maybe like younger years, and how that sort of played a role in how we've developed as people. We're both multidisciplinary artists. We're both trained in writing, creative writing specifically, but Gloria is also an illustrator, and apparently she's a painter as well. I didn't know she was going to paint today. I thought she was just going to be drawing. And me, myself, well, your Facebook friends, so many of you know me in all these different lights. But what's been interesting about this session is that I've kind of been explaining kind of the full scope of everything that I do. So there are some of you that know me as the writer, the poet. There are some of you that know me as the photographer. There are some of you that know me as the musician. And so what I'm realizing is that everyone kind of knows like little bits and pieces of all the things that I do, but nobody really kind of like knows the entirety. So that's sort of one of the things that we've kind of like discussed, and that's kind of, come out into the universe today. And so yeah, so this is my first time really like stepping into like music composition. Like I've played on stage, just did a gig last Thursday with Asia Berlin, doing another one tomorrow. So like, people have seen me play on stage, but I'm kind of just tiptoeing my way into doing composition and kind of like recorded music and everything. So I look at this as sort of the starting point of recording and what I'm working on. Like I'm actually, recording on my iPad. So we had this whole conversation about how I'm kind of learning how to use my iPad and GarageBand. And at first I thought I was like limited to recording only 8 bars, and then I would have to loop everything. But then I figured out that, I can add in more bars, however many measures I want to add or anything like that. So it's kind of been a really interesting learning process. So just hang around for a little bit and we will let you see what's going on here. Let's see who else we got here. My cousin, Don. What's up, cuz? Ready. So how you doing, Gloria?
I am doing well. What you said about it's not it's not wrong. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably gonna make its way onto this thing somewhere. To be honest, some kind of, maybe if I put words on it, because that's an important thing to know. Important thing to know.
I mean, but if nothing was ever wrong or different. We would basically be in like this repetitive culture of the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. At some point, someone has to make a mistake and share that mistake. And, just like I've talked about with a lot of musician friends, when we would be rehearsing and somebody hits the wrong note or they do something wrong, and then we're like, oh, that actually sounds kind of good. Let's actually use that. That's the story of how a lot of songs kind of come to be, where you kind of did something on accident and you're like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. Oh yeah, so for those of you on Facebook Live, I've practiced piano, so that's what I'm working on right now. So, new thing that I kind of have in store. So I'm kind of curious what that the green is gonna become.
I couldn't tell you. I honestly went to this exhibit in Atlanta that it was the whole backstory of Winnie the Pooh and like the illustrator who did that and the writer and all that. And so I've been trying to figure out how to get more detailed backgrounds and just to kind of put more of that into my art. And when I was at that exhibit, it just like the background was almost non-existent. It wasn't like these huge detailed situations. It was more so about I don't know, just like adding your own style to like simple things. So a tree is gonna be a tree, but like Dr. Seuss's books, a tree in that kind of book is gonna look way different than a tree in a Disney film. You know what I mean? So yesterday I was kind of playing around with different types of trees and flowers. And I had this style that I liked, which I thought I could recreate here. So that may happen, it may not, but this was supposed to be some kind of like tree flower piece. I don't know, but it's just there for now. We don't know.
What I see is that has the ability to change scale, to change the scale of the person. So you can easily make it like a giant flower and then your person becomes small, or you can make it like a palm tree or something and then it's kind of like more of a larger person. So it's kind of cool how you still kind of have enough space to sort of to like determine the scale. But this really reminds me of jazz music. So my first real like personal lesson on jazz and the interaction was when I was collaborating with the bass player, and it was just me, playing the piano and him on bass, and he would do something and I would react to it, and then I would do something and he would react to it. And that was like, you hear it, you hear people talk about how jazz is a conversation, but that was my first time really like experiencing being in a conversation with someone musically. The secret of musicians, specifically bass players, is if you hit the wrong note, you just slide up to that note. I've done that many a times. But I feel like, when I'm playing bass, I have to like, wrong note, slide up, it's the right note. But on the piano, I feel like if I hit the wrong note, then it's not the end of the world. Like, it's just a note that's in there. So if I'm just like, that is the right note. That's the right key. So if I just hit that, it it kind of still fits. So that's really interesting. I kind of like that little purple squiggly line at the top. Like it kind of just gives it this different energy.
It's just like the green thing. I'm not sure what that's going to be or if it's going to stay or not,
But also, like the one thing I like about film scores that you don't get a lot of in, like regular music, is the use of lower octaves. How you have like this C that's all the way down here. And I mean, there's some music that uses something that low, but it's mainly like film when you have like this ominous scene where they're just like. And so I feel like when I really got into film scores, that's what opened my mind to using notes that low. I think it's cool how I can just like basically stick on this one chord and arpeggiate it for as long as I want to. Try a different sound. Let's see, electric piano. Oh, it's really nice.
I like the other one. What's the type of instrument you were playing before that's just considered piano?
Yeah, it's just like a classic grand sound. Got a soul organ. Well, tomorrow is Sunday. I would love to learn how to play an organ though. I was playing around with one in Guitar Center. I mean, from my observation, it's somewhat similar to the piano in terms of like all the notes, but then you have like this second row of keys and then the foot pedals that do the same, or I guess what's the same thing. I'm like, oh my god, like how does this thing work? So I guess that's like my inner child and like wanting to explore. That's what I meant to bring up. So the whole inner child thing. Let's have that conversation.
Let's hear what you want to know.
So I forget where some like self-help thing or something like long ago, and it was suggesting that to get to what you're meant to do or what you really want to do, go back to what you wanted as a child, like the things you like craved and always had like fascination with. And they were saying like your ideal career is in there somewhere. And I think meeting you sort of reminded me of that, because you know sometimes we like learn something that we think is really important, but then life kind of goes on and we forget about it. And I'm just like, wow, you know, that's kind of really true, you know. And it kind of sent me back to thinking about like all the things that I wanted to do as a child or the things that I did as a child. So
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting, like the work that I'm trying to do through Feverish Child or through my artwork or through writing or just being, is, you know, I guess helping people, or not even helping people. I just enjoy watching or witnessing people have these moments where they kind of remember their true selves, you know? Like I mean, of course we are moving through life super quick. Sometimes we're putting on, you know, different masks, like depending on who we're around or what time of day it is. But just to see people kind of let all of that go and forget about who they're supposed to be or who they think they're supposed to be or who they're expected to be or whatever, and just be them, I feel like, to me, that's one of the most beautiful things to see. But then also knowing that the thing that I'm seeing is, you know, just their true self, which was present, I feel, as a child. Like, I don't think that's just something separate that happened to us, you know, 20 plus years ago and it's just gone. I feel like that's who we are. That's, you know, that's us. It's not some, you know, separate human being. So I feel like a lot of those answers that you're looking for in your adult self or adult life, if you spend enough time with your, am I preaching or
preach? Yep, that's still so organic.
That was like Cardinals baseball.
Oh yeah, the dun dun dun. I would play that, but I'm still new to piano, so I ain't even gonna try it.
But yeah, no, it's it is something that I enjoy, but I'm still figuring out as far as, you know, how to tie my work into that. So
yeah. So when I think about myself as a child, I was very constructive or deconstructive. So the funny thing is, so like my aunt that tuned in, her husband, my uncle, would always buy me like remote control cars for Christmas when I was a kid. And I would always like take them apart. And I remember some years ago, he was like, man, you would always take apart all the cars that I got you. And what I realized is that I'm a composer. Like, I'm naturally inclined for composition, and part of that is decomposition and taking things apart to know how they go together. And I remember, you know, back in the days of VHS tapes, I would like take, so I got like sea salt and cheddar and then trail mixes in there. So I would
have you ever started something? Well, actually, you just did. Sorry to cut you off. I was going to say, have you ever started something and wanted to just start completely over?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah. But what do I do with this? I can't flip it over. I want to, like, start over. I hate it. I don't hate it, but I'm not, I don't know. I don't know what she is.
I feel like the background will help you determine who she is.
Yeah.
Like, once you get the background, like, to a certain point, then her features will come into focus.
Yeah. now it's like, what is it? What is she doing? Who is she? Why is she here?
Yeah, so like the context will give context to her appearance in terms of like clothes and wardrobe and everything. Because you can easily go, that could be like a thermal, or it could be like an Under Armour shirt, and she could be wearing like leggings or something, and she can be like actively hiking or jogging in the woods. You could paint some pockets on the pants, make them cargo pants, and kind of make it more like a woodsy area, and she could be hiking. Or you could make it like a fashionista thing, and make it like this elegant backdrop or something like that. Make the green thing into like this swanky little thing,
Right.
and give her this whole fashionable look.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Like, as the background comes in, it'll make more sense for the details. I had this decision kind of halfway through, pretty much when the music changed. Or maybe a little bit after that. But anyway, I was trying to create something that I felt someone would like. I don't know, I didn't have anybody in mind, but if this was hanging on a wall somewhere, someone would be like, I like that, or I would buy that. And I was getting frustrated because, one, it's not like I didn't like it, but I didn't see how someone would be like, oh, this is beautiful. Because to me, it's just like a cartoon on a canvas, like, nothing too special. So anyway, like maybe 2/3 through, since we started, I decided that this is going to be for my niece. And even though I still don't know what to do with it, I liked that feeling, because I was like, okay, I'm not doing this to have somebody buy it or like it. I want this to hang on her in her room now that I'm leaving. I want her to have like a piece of art that I created with her in mind. So, I mean, does she look like a black girl? I shouldn't look like a black girl because the hair is like red and straight or whatever. But does she look like a person of color, like a brown skin person?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
But I was just gonna say that doesn't necessarily have to be hair. It could be, you could take it into the future, because I kind of look at it as like this futuristic headpiece type thing that it could turn into.
Right. Something different, or even just some character, So I was thinking, I like what you said. My niece is super young.
What's up, Rob? What up, Dennis? What up, SJ?
I had to turn my light off. I feel too seen.
Yeah, so to give a quick update to the people that have just joined, so I'm here with Gloria Day, who is an illustrator and a creative writer, and we are having an artist session. We're basically putting ourselves in this space and allowing each other to sort of create together, to feed off of each other's energy. So while she's painting, I'm creating music. And just to give you a snapshot of where she's at, this is what she's up. This is Gloria,
This is
by the
me
way,
eating popcorn.
and that's her piece. And right now I'm sitting down at the piano, which is a new instrument for me. Only a handful of people know I even started playing the piano, but I like it. I'm really taking to it pretty well, and it kind of gives me life a little bit. So that is where we are. We've kind of been having, lots of conversation about art, about life, and how it influences art, and pretty much whatever happens. So we're kind of just hanging here, and yeah, that's it. So thank you for joining, and hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. If you want to go to the very beginning of what we started, I actually started going live on Instagram first. So you can see sort of the earlier stages of the process on my Instagram page at DannieB224, or even like scroll back to the beginning of this live video and see where we started. Cool. That popcorn sound good.
I think, because you were eating, I was like, dang, smacking like hard, like, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm doing the same thing. Wow,
I mean, but what I realized So Robert, who had joined us, just found out Thursday that I'm a musician, that I play. So he saw me play for the first time, and what I realized is that as much as I want to like be all these things, a writer, photographer, music, well, I am these things, speaking present tense, but as much as I want to be seen for these things, I realize there's a certain degree of fear of success. You know how people always talk about, um, more people fear, it's harder to plan for or deal with success than it is failure. And a lot of people be like, oh, you're tripping, like I'm more afraid of failure. But with success, there's so much anxiety around what happens once you've done the thing. Because if you fail, it's pretty simple, like it didn't work. If you want to write a song and you don't do it, it's like I don't have a song. That's like a clear sign of failure. But when you look at success, you actually do write the song, you don't know what happens. Do I write another song? Do I write an album? Does someone hear that song and something happens? Do more than one person hear that song? You can't conceptualize what happens as a result of success like you can with failure. So I guess at this point, I've like had this grand vision of all the things that I want to do and how I want things to come together. But I kind of just realized, being on live, like there is that little bit of fear of like, man, so like what happens when this is like out there and everything, what happens when all the, the music or anything that I've been doing, in my basement kind of gets out and people take note of it. And it's really scary. Like when I first started doing poetry and people heard it, I was like, man, people are gonna hate it. I was in a creative writing class and I wrote this poem called Miss Candy Apple Rose, and it was basically describing a woman in terms of an apple, and basically like features related to like fruits and things like that. And here I am, the stereotype of masculinity, like, man, like I'm writing all this like sensitive stuff, people are gonna judge me. And so I read it out loud in class and everybody's like, man, that is like so dope, like the wordplay, the visuals, the imagery and everything like that. And I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. Same thing with photography. There was anxiety around sharing my images, and then people are like, oh, these are actually pretty good. And I think with anything I do, probably, everybody probably feels the same way, nobody just talks about it, but with any new venture there's a degree of anxiety that goes along with it, and thinking about, what are people going to say or what are people going to do in response to that thing. But I wanted to come back to what you said about you were trying to think of who the painting would be for, or trying to create something that someone would want. And that kind of made me want to explore the idea of like, did that sort of steer the direction that you were going in? Were you starting creation like with this thing?
It really did, because I was thinking, I was trying to do something that felt a little more free than just creating something that you can find on my website. I didn't want to just duplicate something that I've already done. So I thought going into it I was going to be a little more open and just try some new things. And it was weird. I'm seriously, like all my cartoons stand the same exact way. They have the same little face with the neck, it's kind of crazy. Like even if you want to do something different, you can kind of fall back into what is safe, So the more I started thinking about who would buy this, how would anybody want this, I started thinking, what has worked? What have people already purchased or approved of? You know what I mean? So the more I thought about that, the safer the choices that I was making, which kept me stuck. So that's when I think I just had this moment where I was kind of over it, because I really wanted to go into this whole thing just feeling like I could improvise in some way, or just kind of, just get away from the structure of my work. But because I was trying to, I was thinking of everything besides my work, I was doing something that just wasn't me. I mean, this is me, but it's the safe version. So, yeah, it definitely steered my art in a direction that I didn't want it to go. So it's safe. It's a very safe piece, but it's conflicting because I wanted it to be not safe. Because really what I wanted to do was do something crazy. Just like you said, you thought about playing the piano first, but you didn't. You know? I can't remember why you said why.
Because I wanted to do something different, and then also like I've been most recently playing on bass.
Okay.
So I wanted to.
Did that feel like the more riskier choice or the safer choice with the guitar?
Gonna put live on pause for a little minute so I can have a snack break. All right, peace out.